Welcome to the third episode of the Startup Spotlight, a new platform from Startup San Diego where we shine some light on change makers and founders driving innovative solutions right here in San Diego and outside the region. I'm Erica Gastelum, Operations Manager at Startup San Diego, and your host for today. If you're a founder, entrepreneur, talent, investor, or interested in anything startup related, check out Startup San Diego, a 501c3 nonprofit with a mission to connect, educate, inspire, and grow a more equitable startup ecosystem and entrepreneurial community in the greater San Diego region. Today, we're showcasing Mosqitter, a startup founded in Ukraine with offices in Kyiv and Pennsylvania. Their mission is to accelerate the development and widespread adoption of smart, eco-friendly pest control solutions by reducing the usage of harmful chemicals to preserve the environment. Joining us is Anastasiia Romanova, founder of Mosqitter. The Startup San Diego team first met Anastasiia at San Diego Startup Week 2023, where she placed second in the Heavyweight Founders Fight Club pitch competition. Our team has seen Mosqitter grow so much just in the past year, and we're excited to showcase a great startup who participated in the first cohort for Techstars San Diego, powered by San Diego State University. Welcome, Anastasiia. Thank you for joining us. Can you please share a bit about yourself and your background as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to join today's podcast. And I'm Ukrainian. I've been born and raised in Ukraine and observing from early age business environment as my grandparents were running and growing business on their own. And that made me to look at entrepreneurial route very early. So I had internships while being at school, and then later after doing my degree at university, I've been running my family business, and that's like how I've been forming as an entrepreneur, and having around advisors, mentors from the family. It's amazing thing to have and helping a lot. And I also had experience for a couple of years of working in Ukrainian parliament, but it also was related to building relations, international relations, and I've been attracting foreign business to come and grow business in Ukraine, also attracting investments to Ukraine, and that was also interesting part of getting experience. And also I've been doing internship at U.S. House of Representatives, and so very interesting route. Also covered some governmental work.
Yeah.
But I really understood that business perspective is something that driving most, and I've been looking for while working at the family business and also working with couple of more companies, international companies, what is that big thing that I would like to work for, what I would like to grow. And at that time in Ukraine, a startup environment started to grow. There are many organizations start appearing, Ukrainian startup funds, support of the startups, and it was really interesting. And I was like, wow, maybe I should look at that.
Yeah.
And we had our first startup trial that was renting agricultural equipment. It didn't work out really well. I think mostly because I wasn't really passionate about idea, and but it was great experience, to know how it works, how it moves. And so that's a bit of background how it was before before Mosqitter. And I moved to the United States 2 years ago, and been living in Jersey, and then moved in August to San Diego, and gotten totally in love with business environment here, and with people here, and everything that is happening. So yeah,
and your entrepreneurial spirit shines so bright. So I'm not surprised when you said that. It definitely, you found that with your family growing up, you've just been honing in that skill set. And then even when you mentioned about your international relations experience, you definitely see that in Mosqitter with new partnerships that are in development, and also just your presence, like I mentioned, your offices just in Ukraine, and then also here in the U.S. And we're glad to have you in San Diego and that you love it here. That's fantastic to hear.
Thank you.
And for folks listening, can you please share a bit more about what inspired the idea behind Mosqitter? Because you did mention that you've had experience with startups in the past, but you know, it just you weren't feeling those ideas. But what was the idea behind Mosqitter? Because it's such an incredible idea, mission, and startup. So can you please share a bit more about that?
Thank you so much for asking. I love this. Yeah, it happened in the United States. I've been in Florida, and at that time I've been expecting my first baby. And actually, there was a Zika outbreak not a long time before. And I have learned from our friends there that it was treated really badly with the chemicals spraying from airplanes all around the city, and it turned out to be really bad because dead fish was wiped out of the ocean, and it had so much bad impact on the health. And you know, with also like putting it to myself on my shoes, like how bad it is for women, for like actually the health for kids, and that's how it started appearing. And also we got known that there were some ecological solutions emerging, and we decided to look at this. And even at that time we visited American Mosquito Control Association gathering in Washington and found out more a bit about this problem, and we were really amazed how big is it, and like that mosquitoes kill every year 1 million people, and that's mostly the solutions are chemicals applications. That's definitely great that there is something behind, but it was obvious that there should be more. And those solutions that were around, like ecological, emerging, they were not really super effective. And we thought that there is probably something we can do here, especially as, again, back in Ukraine, we had already, with our business-wise, a really great group of engineers who helped us to dive into how we can realize it actually from the idea to the product. Also, we were referred to entomologists to the university in Ukraine. We kind of, merged these expertises of engineers and entomologists to understand how we can create something and how we can actually try to solve this problem.
Wow, yeah. And when I read your mission statement at first and heard your pitch at the demo day for Techstars, it was something incredible because it's a tangible solution to this problem for pest control, especially for mosquitoes. And it's just a very tangible solution. And touching back on your mission statement, though, since you mentioned that it's eco-conscious, this is a relatively new idea in the space, in the industry, and I was wondering how you plan to continue meeting the needs of the growing market size of eco-conscious consumers and the concerns from public health advocates, since you mentioned you also had a lot of experience with the public health side of things in the sector. But yeah, can you please share more about that?
Yeah, of course. As you mentioned, that our mission is driving widespread adoption of highly effective pest control products without usage of toxic chemicals, as well as using smart technologies and data to decrease risks related to health and to protect people actually from the related diseases. And that's something that really drives our team a lot, because we understand that it is really something tangible, as you said, that this is something we put and we really see the impact straightforward. Mm-hmm. Like from one side, we decrease the threat, we decrease the problem on the specific area, and to go just one maybe step further, that it's not only about mosquitoes. Our solution is a broad spectrum solution, though mosquitoes are always in our focus as number one, but there are a lot of other insects that we already, by testing in different geographies, we see that we are effective. And that's regarding if we're talking about the mission, we are definitely trying to move step by step, but our goal is to go beyond only this existing mosquitoes and other insects we are approaching right now, as no-see-ums, flies, and some others, and to go to agriculture. So actually the places where chemicals are being used right now as a primarily source of solving the problem, to seek for really how we can bring the technology in those spaces and help to do this in more ecological way. So we've been seeing this in other industries, yes, in automobiles that was as is for many years, and then electrical cars appeared and it changed the industry a lot. And that's important how it's going, especially as now the world is concerned about and concerned for a reason, right? Because even talking about the mosquito problem, it is growing. With the climate change, we see that dangerous species of mosquitoes are appearing in the geographies that they haven't been seen before. So we need more of those solutions, and that's why our mission is going very back to back with the actual problems there. And speaking about the government and all the goals in the world, there are 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and one of those is protection the planet. And we really try in what we do in Mosqitter also to comply with those more broad spectrum goals. We do what we do on our level, but at the same time we are looking at what is there that world needs. And that's how we drive our mission. And thinking about big, we are doing our smallest steps here, and to really do this impact, because the problem today that there are lack of instruments, of real solving those because there are many things that are appearing that help, but sometimes it's a lot about statements, but lack of instruments how to really do something. And we really try to have to be in the role that to bring this instrument to the world and to help in the way that we can.
I love that, because you mentioned something really great that I kind of want you to expand a little more on. You mentioned that it's such a big problem, right? Many governments are concerned, the UN, international organizations, this is a growing concern. And with a problem so big, you mentioned honing in, going smaller to identify those instruments. And I feel like founders, when they're making their products and focusing on their mission, what's your advice for them when you take such a big problem, and how have you and your team found ways to make those problems more smaller in a way, and making instruments that are effective?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that's something we always trying to do effectively, because that's always a thing that you want to do, and this and that, and that you seem like you are able to solve so many of things, but what we've been learning that really keeping the focus on maybe something smaller first, and then just growing from that, it might bring a bit more efficacy. And then just sometimes it really doesn't work to be everywhere for a bit, but keeping focus maybe on something smaller, as we started from mosquitoes, and we just try to grow as we can, and to broaden our expertise, and to evolve more people, evolve more entomologists and experts, how to grow from what we are doing something more. So it's great that you identify for yourself what are you solving. There's numerous problems out there. Climate, there are poverty, there ton of them, really, and that's why you can identify what role you can do, and what you really can deliver with your size, with your capacities, with your team. Do your best at where you are. So that's what we try. Those very often it's so lucrative to go and there, and especially with this additional thing that I've told, that we also about bringing smart technologies and data to protect. So we want to get to the point that when with our products we can monitor the situation, and we can give this information about the threat, that this place is going to may have the problem with mosquitoes, health problem, and early detect these problems. But we understand that before we can be really good in that, we should grow the presence of those devices. Then this data would be really valuable. And that's the point of how we distribute our time, so that we really focused on distributing our units, devices, and so that we allocating certain time to this monitoring, so that when the time is right, we can add on to and really get to step further in our mission.
That's y'all do an incredible job at that. Clearly, with how you mentioned, with all these different partners across different areas of research, and really honing in on the expertise needed to create that instrument, Mosqitter, right, and the solution. And I think that's great that you mentioned the stages of development. I kind of wanted to pick your brain more on that. So since there's so many different aspects involved of hardware, technology, software, it's a software-driven application as well for the product, I just wanted you to give more of an insight on between the concept development stages and the prototyping. When did your team decide it was time to protect, your intellectual property, your IP? And yeah, if you could expand more on that.
Yeah, I absolutely love this knowledge that we're learning as a team in this specific process, because I think that's something that gives us a background of creating new products now as we go for new products, and that helps every time to become more efficient, understanding those stages and what to focus first, and make the lessons out of the mistake that were done. So speaking about the product stages, definitely you're working first on minimum viable product, and at this stage it's important again to be quite focused on the core. For us it was efficiently catch mosquitoes, yes, and not to be too much distracted with we want to make it smart, we want to have this, and we want to have that, and that's, I think, our engineers been doing a great job, because they've been doing comparative tests right away. They've been analyzing what works well, what's not, what should be added, what should be and also that's MVP stage is really important, and as you can get something that you can show to people, to your actual customers, that's also a next very important milestone. Show your product, try to find early adopters as soon as you can, because one thing that you have your feedback internally, because you've been your eyes start being verved, and then when you got external point of view, then it's completely different, and then you go back after this early adoption stage, after initial feedback from your customers, and you go and iterate, and that's the process where it becomes you test, you iterate, you get the feedback, then you get back to iterate, and also important not to get too involved in this, because you can change for forever, because we are changing all the time. We are improving, and that's actually what many great products do, right? What Apple does, they having new iPhone every year. Of course, recently iPhones became less, those loops between improvements are less, right? But at the beginning, you remember when they were first, each year they were so dramatic, different. That was every year it was wow, and that's what I think happening with us now, that we are improving in this steps a lot. Of course, they might become smaller as we already got to quite but I was always a bit scared of getting the product to the customers. Oh, it's not great yet, and we got to our first incubation program in Ukraine. It was US Ukrainian joint program supported by USAID, and it was great for us, and they pushed us, you should go to the market, you should sell to early adopters as much as you can, and that was so great, because otherwise we would wait forever probably. So and I think I just didn't mention at the beginning, and probably we kind of skip that stage, and maybe that's not that great. Customer discovery, what actually, and sometimes your customers can't say you that what they want, what they need, but in fact to get some feedback, as it was with Ford, I think that if he would ask what people need, they say they would need more horsepower with and that's and of course, it's very important to get the feedback and what people are expecting, but also keep in mind your mission, your goal, and what is your vision. But moving in stages, doing MVP, and having the feedback, and to put the iteration, and not to put all the features right away, to be focused on the core, it's important. And second part of the question was about patenting and when it is the right time. We patent the technology quite early, and that was bad and good as well. And you can do this if you know how it's going to work, and drafting provisional patent and describe your technology. You can always then add new patents on new specifics of your elements if you add something new. Definitely it's a huge part of work also that we are learning as well all the time. And our first patents were less professional. Then we learned that by working with the professionals like patent agencies, it helps you to translate your technology words to patent words that you can be quite aware of, and that helps a lot. And then you go through this procedure, like you patent it national in the country where you develop it, or what is your primary market. Then you can patent it to multiple countries through certain procedures that there. For example, there is patent cooperation treaty that you can patent your technology for 30 months in almost all the countries in the world, and then you can choose in 30 months what countries you would like to proceed locally, where you're actually going to develop your business. So there are a lot of things, and then this whole additional topic, but I think as you know that this is technology that you're gonna use, try to patent it early, because it helps as you go. It helps because investors start asking you, partners, it's credibility for them. Are you having patenting? Yeah, we do. Okay, then let's proceed. And so it helps, but be aware that you should draft it professionally, because weak patents, then it makes you even more work, because then patent agencies start asking you additional questions, and that takes time and resources. So
definitely, and you gave such a great explanation for that whole product development stages, and then also iterating, going back, reaching your early adopter, using that feedback to continue enhancing the product, but not losing the vision.
Exactly.
Not losing the vision. I love that advice that you're giving, because founders may be overwhelmed, right, with all the different ideas that they may have, all the feedback they're getting, especially if you're introducing it to a third party that isn't familiar with what you're doing. It's the first time they see it. It can be overwhelming having all those different perspectives and feedback, ideas.
And I love that concept, of most important thing, that ideally at the period of time you should have 2-3 focuses for what you are doing, depending on the stage where you're in, because being too much refocused and thinking too much a couple of steps in advance, it sometimes distracts you what really matters at this period of time, and then things might be developing longer than they could be. And that's why this concept of most important thing at the period of time, as you told, to be focused on, for example, receiving customer feedback and product development. That's at the early stage. Then Definitely. You go to another scope of problems, and that's I have been approaching this, I think, recently more efficiently after acceleration program, and after because before I think things might be developing even quicker if we as a team we could keep more focused on certain periods of our time.
That's a really good insight, especially since people could be thinking that they're being very productive, thinking in advance and outside of the stage they're currently in to speed things along. But it could be counterintuitive. Like you mentioned, those resources that could have been spent in the stage you're in just got misused or kind of misallocated in advance when you're gonna get there.
Yep.
It's gonna happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when you get there, you're gonna be there stronger, focusing more in the stages that you actually are in. And when you mentioned about the IP protecting your technology in different countries as well, let's talk more about your market entry. So you've tested your product in different areas in the world, and I just wanted you to shed more light on Mosqitter's global expansion strategy into different markets, lessons learned when conducting market research, since you mentioned the early adopters, those are very crucial. And just, if you could give some use cases, that's also incredible.
Of course, yeah, sure. Our early adopters, they've been in Ukraine, and since we've been developing there, and though it wasn't our primarily market because of its seasonality and not that huge problem, it's more problem of comfort, less of any diseases related right now, as we know, that problem is growing more. But anyway, but we've been developing the product there, and for fast feedback, we've been having our first early adopters there, especially as we've been testing the concept of having those in hotels, in restaurants, like with the B2B. That's how we approach that, and that's really helped. First it was through friends, through family, and just having people to give real feedback, and that was really first baby step that we did. But first time as we released the product, it was in Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in 2020. And that's unfortunately we got to the period it was right before COVID, and 1 month after that COVID started, and our plans were a bit different because at that time we also were considering a US market as a good focus for us, and after the CS we had certain pilot plans with the pest control companies in the United States, and also we got some contacts internationally, and as we got into COVID, and actually literally we were about to send our units to United States in the week so it was really so close by, and maybe we would be at the different point right now already here if things were, but anyway we tried not to stop, and that was I think the most important, and we tried to work on those contacts we received from the conference as much as we can. Everyone definitely were very concerned of moving their core businesses in new directions, and that was tough really to find people who would take over this risk in this uncertain world, but our contact in India that we got in the CES, he was risky enough, and I think it was partially because he exited from his previous business just before, and he was about to start something new, and that helped. And he had sufficient expertise in manufacturing, and we were thinking how we can scale, having limited resources. We haven't fundraised at that time. I think we'd just been having certain grants from Ukrainian government and participation in the expos and so, but we hadn't raised investment just yet. So how we can grow, because it is about manufacturing, you should have something. And we decided to approach with a licensing model, and that's how we started to work with our partner in India. We actually provided him opportunity to manufacture by using our technology, and that was our first market. It was also good because Indian market is really affected by the problem, and I'm glad that we've been developing there through these years, and that's quite difficult to develop through the license model, because whenever you don't have your own team there, and you should always communicate your vision, your how you want your brand to be positioned. But I think it was also lots of learning. But anyway, I think for us, there are great outcomes. For example, we have shared a lot this story, but still I wanted to mention that in autumn 2023, our partner installed 20 mosquitoes during the G20 summit, where all the leaders met,
so
like
exciting.
all the presidents, and I think that's already brings for us additional proofs that this technology can be used at the different variety of places, situations, and that's like the Indian market. Also, we launched similar approach in Brazil, and Brazil we also have licensing. We have amazing partners there who are developing. It was more recent partnership, also got through CES, but from another year, and there's only 2 markets we have licensing model. Other markets we keep growing through the partnership, like just dealers locally. We are present in Italy. We have evolving partnerships in a couple of other European countries, and that's also something that we try to respond to ourselves about where is our focus, because though I talked about that in the previous question that we try to be focused on the certain stages, but this is another question. Whenever you talk about geographies, for us it was important to try different geographies because of the we tried to pursue where the problem is growing. Started launching on the US market. We see so much potential here, and not only because there is only threat to the health, but also because of that people are ready to having ecological products. They just want to protect their health, and they want along with the air conditioners that are air purifiers that are in our households already, and people already are looking for something more ecological, what can be there in their backyard. There is a nice backyard with a barbecue there, and why people should escape when the sun is going down, and to escape and not having
exactly.
That's why US is really under huge focus for us now. We see lots of potential, like general North American market. We do a lot of efforts to get developed here, to see what the right ways, go-to-market steps here. It's also very different from that steps we've done in other markets, and I think for us also now important of keeping enough focus on key markets, but still not to abandon those we already having. So, but that's really exciting to develop. But to tell the truth, like being focused on one market definitely would be much easier.
Those are really great experiences that you just mentioned, especially for the market entry into different countries like Brazil and of course India, like you mentioned, that you did licensing for that, and I think that's really valuable for founders who are listening, who maybe debating different methods to venture into different markets. That there's different ways to do it. Like you mentioned, there's a different strategy for the U.S. that you have, even with Italy, Brazil, India.
Exactly.
Depends on your capacities, your resources, and your connections, of course. And it was really interesting that you mentioned the connections that you made at CS, at that conference, and how that's scaled over the years as well. So that's really valuable insights for folks when they maybe are looking at their market entry strategies. Also look at their connections and network. Since it's there.
That's really helpful to find the places where you can build a network specifically for your goals. So, and CS for us was because it's Consumer Electronics Show, and it was great. So find those places where you can build your network for development. So
they are there. No, and kind of circling back to your team. So you have offices in Ukraine and the United States, and with partnerships worldwide as well, like Brazil and India and Italy. What are key insights from scaling your team, since most are based in Ukraine and the U.S., the different time zones? How's that been for you? Have you been able to, put your attention in different areas with your team?
Yeah, so as you said, we have part of our team based in Ukraine, especially engineering part of it, and mostly business development is in the United States. Also, we have people in Canada, one person actually, and in Europe. But yeah, main spots are Ukraine and US. So the most important we found out for remote teams is keeping constantly track on what we are doing to keep again talking about those priorities and to set up your OKRs for the team, like the most important for the certain period. We usually now we got to weekly planning, like we get weekly like for the team as a whole, and then each team member has their own sub goals, how they reach towards those. It's also sometimes quite tough to identify just 3 of them, and that's a lot what we've been learning at Techstars that probably we'll talk about a bit later. I think we got much more efficient after that. So to prioritize goals, having track of the goals of each team member, have regular communications, and we have definitely team calls once per week. We have individual calls for specific things like sales, manufacturing, and not to overwhelm definitely with the calls and not to be just on the call and have actual time to work, but important that everyone on one page in one context and moving towards the same goals. I think that's most important, and definitely there are a ton of instruments out there that help to do so, different software things like CRMs where you can track your goals, milestones, roadmap, how you are working on that. So find that works best for you, and and I think that helps our team to be quite efficient, though being in different time zones and so far away from each other. Because sometimes some people in Ukraine, we've been hiring already remotely, and I haven't met our head of manufacturing, who is now transitioning to even CTO role. I haven't met him in person even once, but I feel like I know him for ages because we're talking all the time. And a similar story was with our sales manager, who is in Canada, and we've been working for over a year just remotely, and recently we've met for strategic meeting of the team in New York, and it was like, wow, that's the first time we met in person, but it's seems that we met so many times.
And that shows how, a mission could really unite a team across borders, right? You've never met a couple of these strategic people in the executive leadership in your team, but just with the mission and being able to connect via that, I feel like it builds such a great form of trust, and definitely the work shows that it's working.
Yeah, I think it's a great add-on to what I've said, because I said it more on the operational side of it, but mission thing I think is really very important, and I think also sharing values as a team, and as I see that people, they become passionate over time of what and it's not only about doing immediate things like just doing their job and done. No, that's mostly about already what will be next, what we're gonna meet next, what should we do now more so that we get to the next level. So I think we are kind of all in this game already, and I so love our team, and I'm really grateful to my co-founder Olga. So we are a women-founded startup, and I'm really thankful that Olga is mostly we kind of divided our spheres of focus. Myself, I am on manufacturing, fundraising, some key accounts, and Olga is working with people and sales, marketing, and I think the way that we also built already kind of small but culture, some we already have some vibe inside of the team. We have some our internal jokes, we have and I think that's also keeps us already quite united. So
that's so great. The company culture, of course, that's great that y'all are able to foster that with such a big team spread out, and leaning on your co-founder to also split tasks, because you're only one person. I mean, Olga's only one person too, and having two people leading it, that's inspirational. That's very inspirational.
Having co-founder is so great.
Yeah, definitely for listeners who are maybe a solo founder right now, get that co-founder. Maybe it'll be a game changer for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you mentioned the operational side of things. You don't want your team to be Zoom fatigued. And you briefly mentioned Techstars in that. So I wanted to get more of your experience from participating in the very first cohort for the Techstars San Diego powered by SDSU program. Are there any tips that you have for founders who may be interested in applying for the program in May? And please share.
Yeah, that's actually how I ended up to be here in San Diego, thanks to Techstars San Diego, powered by SDSU. And I should say that was super great experience for our team. I've already mentioned some of the benefits, great things that we had operationally, like being more focused on our goals, like how to build the team effectively, and all other. And I also love this approach that in Techstars, the team incentivizes you to put specific goals for the program, and for us it was like go-to-market steps in the United States and improving our processes. So I think we completely got to complete those goals, and I'm really thankful for this opportunity and the team of Techstars who helped us to do so. And talking about the Techstars San Diego itself, the most important, except of all those like operational things, is definitely people, the network that we got. Ryan Cooder, Misty Kane, who are running the program, they doing so great job to help founders to create the network. We got so many great mentors in our the opportunity to talk to them, to learn from them, to discuss certain things, and that's so important. And if we are talking about the tips on definitely think about what there are things you would like to achieve, what are your goals. Maybe you will not like 100%, definitely that's ongoing. We are not yet like a super scaled company here, but we in fact already know how to do that. Yeah, so there are so many instruments that you receive there that you can work over the time then, and plus additionally the fact that I stayed in San Diego, I think it's also because of how effectively this whole program was built and how we managed to build that great community around, and we keep working with the mentors. We started working in the Techstars. We keep having so many advice and help from Ryan, from Misty, and I can't even stop talking about other teams, because other teams, there is so great competition, and there are so cool companies that end up at the program, and like having this opportunity to learn from each other, it's like worth so much.
Sounds like y'all had a really great time during your experience at Techstars. It was really great seeing y'all demo at your demo day. It really stood out to us, your pitch, and then also just seeing the product in person. It's so big, but yeah, it's really incredible that you're able to make those networks here in San Diego, those connections. Ryan and Misty, they're a powerhouse team. They're doing incredible things for founders here in San Diego. It's fantastic that you're staying in San Diego too. I really love to hear that, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
For next steps, though, can you share a few milestones that you hope Mosqitter is going to reach before the end of 2024?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for asking. And definitely, as I've told, the US market is in focus. So to launch partnerships that we are onboarding right now, like in pilot stages, to complete those, and actually to have already strong partners to scale on the market. That's number one, definitely. Secondly, we are working on scaling manufacturing part because as we scale our partnerships and hopefully the demand, we should be ready with the supply. supply, and that's we working a lot because we've been having our manufacturing in Ukraine, and we still have it, but definitely we should look additional sources of supply, and we're working and very focused on that right now. And Mexico is one of our places that we are looking at, and also a couple of other countries. So most likely we'll come to the point that we're gonna have a couple of places for manufacturing, and so working out what would be the best for this specific stage right now. And third big milestone for us would be launching Mosqitter Mini. We have just released it at CES again this year, and we are having now initial batch of tests that already show to have really great results and in terms of efficacy. So now we're in the process of going through all the stages of preparing to mass manufacturing and building also partnerships already on that. So hopefully soon I can release it already, like product to be launched, and that's another important milestone for us. And so getting to this consumer market, and that is also very new for us. That's something we've been figuring out during Techstars as well, how to do, how not too much refocus between two products, especially as one is more B2B, the other one is more B2C, and we're still like learning a lot, but that's would be a huge step forward for us.
We're so excited to see Mosqitter Mini soon, and also congratulations on just scaling so fast with the manufacturing, entering Mexico for that, and B2B, B2C. So it's really amazing how much y'all have grown, and we're excited to keep tracking that growth as you continue into 2025 and beyond.
Thank you.
So for people listening, how can they support Mosqitter? Is there any funding rounds, social media events that you're going to be at?
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you. Funding round is something we're gonna open pretty soon. Just coming out of the previous that what been discussed, as a lot of things are coming. Definitely, we need to support our B2C launch, and that's so many things to be done around that. So fundraising, that's something we are going to open, and would love to have those communications. Yeah, please follow us and our social media. We try to be in Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn to keep updated on what is coming, what is happening. We are opening a couple of new positions in the company, so also would love to keep track and having new people onboarded in our team. And also anyone who would like to get rid of mosquitoes in their outdoors and enjoy, visit also our website, reach out to us, and would be happy for recommendation to supply the product, and to start getting more and more feedback here in this important for us market.
So many ways to get connected and involved. I love it. And we'll link anything that is needed to reach you in the description. So thank you so much for providing all those ways for people to get involved. As we wrap up the podcast, this is my favorite question to ask. Who would you like to spotlight in the community? And this could be anyone from mentors to community resources, other startup founders. This is your opportunity to shed some light on them.
Oh, great. Amazing question, and so tough.
Yeah, I know.
Because really there are so many people here in community that I'm really so thankful for, and we as a team. And I would definitely start with the Techstars people like Ryan, Misty. We've already talked. They're amazing, and they're helping us so much, as well as mentors that we've been working. There are a lot of mentors that have been helping a lot. I would probably would like to to say about Eric Otterson, one of our mentors who've been helping us so much to move forward. And there are really all the mentors who are participating with the Techstars. They're super helpful. They're so open to help and willing to do so that it was amazing. I would like definitely to mention about our teams, other teams who've been in Techstars. Among those, Cargo Short, Air Built, Baba. Also, I think that all our teams worth like look at the batch that we've been there and reach out to founders and see what are they doing, because there are so many amazing things in progress, and I would definitely would like everyone to put attention to those companies of the first ever batch of Techstars San Diego powered by SDSU. And I can't mention not to mention also Marie Nicole from Panic Pants, and that was amazing for me to be with her on one stage and compete, and I think that was the most pleasant competition that I've ever had.
So great.
I think it was kind of show, right?
It was inspirational for me. I was like, wow, like who's gonna? I was on the edge of my seat.
I even didn't know that we will end up 2 women in the at the finals, and for us it was quite spontaneous to be at this competition itself, and the fact how they're growing in US. They launched nationally in CVS. That's so huge milestone. So definitely kudos to Marie and her team with what they are doing, and so. Really thankful to the community and what is the people doing here, and I also probably would like to say about Neil Bloom, how he is developing this community a lot. There was another mentor, Kanani. She's also developing now the women community, Notables, and that's also great that there are new places for women to exchange what are they doing, to find the support between each other, and lots of people to mention, and really thank you for the community for being so open and welcoming.
So many connections, and all those folks are so supportive. They're incredible. Definitely recommend folks to get in touch with them if they haven't yet. And thank you, Anastasiia. You've been incredible throughout this entire interview. Mosqitter is such an inspiration. Your story, your background, the tips and advice you've given founders in this interview are incredible, and we look forward to staying connected and seeing the future of Mosqitter. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Erica. It was a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Please make sure to check out Startup San Diego across all social platforms, subscribe to our monthly newsletter, and check out our startup calendar. Thank you to our sponsors, Aleph One, Arcus Nexus, City of Carlsbad, City of San Diego Economic Development Department, Logic Boost Labs, Qualcomm, SDSU, and the Wedgie Foundation.